Hey, it's Andy Lockwood. Welcome to College Talk Tuesday live here on Facebook, collegetalktuesday.live. So, on this show, what we do is go over all the latest college planning news and tips that can be very timely different parts of the calendar. And in particular, today being the beginning of October, what is it, the 3rd or something? The FAFSA has now been out for 3 days. And normally I would be joined by my wife, Pearl, but she's busy today because she's working very hard doing FAFSA. So I'm here in the office away from our studio. And I have a bunch of tips that I want to lay on you right now, particularly if you have a class of 2017 seniors. So here we go. Number one, know your deadlines. So the FAFSA, free application for federal student aid, FAFSA, some people call it FAFSA. They are wrong. It is FAFSA. That is a federal form that every college in the country takes, and there's an additional form that approximately 260 or 270 other colleges take that goes along in addition to the FAFSA, not in lieu of the FAFSA, called the CSS profile. In either case, the deadlines to file these vary by school. If you were to look at the FAFSA itself, you would notice that the deadline is something like June 30th. Don't go by that deadline. That is a deadly mistake. You need to go by the deadline that the college that you're applying to, each and every college, has a priority financial aid deadline. So if you miss that priority financial aid deadline, you could be totally out of luck. You might get a reduced financial aid award, or you might get zero. So you have to do the work. You have to look at each and every deadline. And we say this almost every time we go on the air, but I think it bears repeating. Every year we have people who come to us and they wake up too late. They realize that they blew a deadline, and the consequences can be pretty awful. That's number one. Number two, you have to know what forms to find out. So I mentioned there are two main forms, but those aren't the only forms that are required. There are also institutional forms. There could be other types of forms. If you're a business owner, if you are a divorced spouse, sometimes there are additional disclosures depending on the college for divorced spouses who are not considered the custodial parent. So let me just give you a little commentary on that. Custodial parent means the parent with whom the child resides a majority of time. Please note that in a divorce situation, custodial parent does not mean the parent that declares the kid as a dependent for tax purposes. Two totally separate bodies of regulation. You've got IRS, Department of Treasury regulations, and you've got financial aid, Department of Education regulations, totally separate. So don't confuse the two. Regardless, my point here is that every college has its own set of forms, and depending on your circumstances, if you're divorced, there might be additional forms. If you're a business owner, there might be additional forms. I talked to a lot of business owners, including one a few moments ago, and we spent some time trying to explore the interplay between the tax advantages that business owners have in the tax code versus college planning Department of Education regulations. And sometimes there's overlap, sometimes there isn't. My point is that you may have additional disclosures, and there might be additional techniques or tools that you as a business owner might be able to avail yourself of. Okay, let's go to advice for class of 2017 seniors. Now, and this is actually, I would put this in the category of not only 2017, but also 2018 seniors. I really recommend that you can either get a reprint or you get a hold of, okay, I forgot that this is a reverse image. If you can read backwards, if you can read in mirror images, I recommend you grab last Wednesday, September 28th, special report by the Wall Street Journal. They have come out with their own set of college rankings. So when you get it, it actually comes not in reverse. So you can probably look it up online or something. So I would Google Wall Street Journal U.S. College Rankings, and what you will see on there is a new, very interesting to me, methodology of ranking schools. And to me, the interesting thing that they did was they, unlike U.S. News and World Report and many other types of rankings, the Wall Street Journal did not look at average SAT score or ACT score and average GPA of incoming college freshmen. Instead, what they focus on were results or outcomes that that colleges provide. So I always talk about college return on investment, and I go on and on about the next 40 years compared to 4 years, because I am very much focused on what college can do for you as opposed to that very artificial, narrow, hopefully only 4 years of school. So this, I was very happy. I actually am not even done with this because it's not just a front page article. It's the whole section. It's a special report. So I haven't made it all the way through yet. I've been reading it kind of in fits and in spurts. One of the surprises I think on there is that you'll see a lot of the usual suspect type schools when it comes to overall ranking. But for example, Princeton I think is number 8. Typically in the rankings, Princeton's like top 5 or top 3. Princeton is number 8, and I think that had to do to their score on student engagement. How engaged students felt like they were with the teaching. So I can't recommend this enough, particularly if you are concerned, like I am, with what college is going to do for you, meaning the next 40 years, not the 4 years. So I really recommend that if you're a senior trying to come up with a few more schools on your list right now before you start filing the applications, or you're a junior, class of 2018 or younger, I really recommend picking up a copy of that article. All right, back to focusing on class of 2017 seniors. This is the time to finish up the applications and make sure the recommendations are being tucked away by your teachers, and following up with your guidance counselor to make sure that he or she has everything that is needed in order to send your applications off to the various colleges. Every year there are all sorts of stress-ridden horror type stories where kids thought that everything was put to bed, and they found out later that the guidance counselors had never sent one or more of their obligatory recommendations to that particular college. So most guidance counselors do a great job at this, but it's up to you, the student, or the parent I should say, and the student, to follow up and make sure that the guidance counselors are doing what you ask them to do. Likewise, if you add a school, then what you should do is make sure that that school gets your transcripts and everything else the guidance counselor is supposed to send. Please do that. I know it sounds kind of silly, and I wish life were different, but you'd be well served to trust but verify. Pearl and I use that phrase a lot too. We are doing a boot camp for class of 2017 kids who have not yet completed their applications and essays, and they want help finishing off their college list, making sure it's strategic, making sure they get into most of the schools on their list, and they're choosing the schools for the right reasons, not just whether a school happens to be performing well on Saturday afternoon on football or upcoming basketball season and things like that. So that is something that there's a link to the page that describes our boot camp coming up. It's coming up in less than 2 weeks, and we only have 6 spots available. It's not a fake number because we're doing it in our conference room, which is roughly the size of an old phone booth. Now, we can squeeze in 6 families, and we've already had a couple of spots taken. I'm not really planning on doing 2 sessions because it was hard enough to balance out the regular work I was doing with current private consulting clients, as well as introduce this new boot camp that I've been toying around with for a couple of years. If you want more information, check out the link that's here. You can I think it's collegeplanningguru.com/bootcamp-2017, and I'll make sure that's posted correctly in this post. Other than that, those are my quick tips today for College Talk Tuesday. Again, I'm flying lone wolf, no Pearl here for the banter, but we will be back on Friday to FAQ us. You can FAQ, FAQ, frequently asked question, me and Pearl, Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We've already got 6 or 7 questions that have come in so far from last week, in between last week's show and today, Tuesday. If you have any questions, show up live on Friday. In the meantime, please like, comment, and share on this video. I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, post them below, and I'll either respond in the message, or we'll get you that information out on Friday during Friday FAQ at 2 p.m. Eastern every Friday. All right. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will check you later. This is Andy Lockwood, College Talk Tuesday. Talk to you soon. Bye.